I was told not to unbox this comic book order, but I'm going to do it anyway. Hey there, today I have an unboxing video, and in this video I'm going to unbox an order of comics that I placed with Atomic Avenue. Yes, I did it again. I purchased from the same seller that I recently purchased from. I felt like the condition of the books was outstanding. The overall average grade was one of the highest from any seller really that I purchased from on the platform before. I got a lot of feedback saying I shouldn't have released a video that showed the kind of books that I got. I'm not sure, but I'm speculating that people wanted to kind of keep this as a secret for themselves, or kind of a secret stash or honey hole of some kind that they wanted to order from. And I feel like if you're out there and you want to buy comic books and you want to wipe out a honey hole, then by all means, I'm not going to stop you. I'm also going to continue to order. I feel like my methods for analyzing a particular resource's comics that they have available in terms of the price of the books and how they relate to fair market value and assessing risk and condition and all of that. I have my own methods and my own formula and my own spreadsheets for that I feel like really shouldn't interfere with any comic book buying that anybody else wants to do. And I think that if we've identified a seller that we like, that we trust, by all means, then we should send that individual our business, because it should drive more competition. It's kind of basic economics. If one seller is getting all the business, then the other sellers have to potentially lower their prices, upgrade the quality of their shipping practices, offer free shipping, and I think in the end it makes it better for all of us. So I want to get to the unboxing, but before I do, there is one thing about this order that I'm a little confused about, and I'm going to show you. It's one of the reasons why I know I just did an unboxing from the seller, but I'm going to go ahead and do another one, is because of how the order of comics arrived. It's quite interesting. It's in a giant, like, monolith type of cardboard box. I mean, this thing is giant. Now, if you see this, you're thinking to yourself, uh-oh, did he order more original art? Of course, I was getting a lot of hate from other individuals in my household because they're complaining, saying, I don't need any more original art. Why did you do this? And I said, I swear, this is a comic book. So I don't know, maybe it's an act of kindness and there's a giant Wolverine poster in here or something. I have no idea. But I'm really hoping these are the comics that I ordered. I have no idea why it's in this massively oversized, gigantic box. And I'm holding it as if it's like a stuffed animal or my new best friend. Maybe if the comics in here are in high grade like they were last time, then maybe they are my new best friend. But I'd rather stop hugging this and open it up so I can see the comics that I picked up from this seller on Atomic Avenue. And then if you stay to the end, I'll show you what I paid for these books, compare the cost to fair market value, and the potential if I were to get these books graded. It's time, once and for all, to open up this order of comics. All right, here we go. This is the order that I placed with Atomic Avenue from the seller Dad's Comic Stash. It is massively oversized. This thing came via USPS Ground Advantage, which I swear I didn't realize USPS. I thought you have to mail shipments this size and at this weight priority, but nevertheless, it came in through Ground, and I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I can't even get the whole box on camera at this point. I'm very anxious to see how these comics were packed, and my fingers are crossed. I had such a good experience last time that the books are well packed inside. Let's take a look. Okay, so that makes sense. They ended up having two cardboard boxes, essentially two bricks of comic books, and ended up mailing them side by side. Still was quite lengthy, and there was a lot of extra padding, sort of packing paper and materials. That was their choice instead of kind of doing a larger stack. In a way, it kind of makes sense. There are fewer books stacked on top of each other. It was more kind of side by side, so I appreciate that. Love these tape pulls. Makes it super easy. Painter's tape. Again, sometimes I order from people just because I appreciate the way that they package up their orders. I can just tell that they care about shipping and all of that, and it's really nice, and I appreciate it very much. I figure the theory is if they care about how they're packing and shipping books, then they care about their comics and care about how they're storing them, and care about their reputation as a seller. I ordered quite a number of books in this order. I want to go through them as quickly as possible so we can also look at the data. But I also ordered some very cool books and want to take as much time here admiring them and appreciating the fact that I was able to add these great comics to my collection. So let's get started with none other than Wolverine #4. I can already tell that, okay, it's almost like, well, was it too good to be true? This is not near mint. I ordered this book in near mint, even through the bag and board. Not only is there creasing, you can see here all of the discoloration and so forth along here. Definitely miswrapped, tons of spine ticks, color breaks, and so on. So I'll probably have to reach out to this seller and ask him about this because I paid quite a bit for this book. This is nowhere near a 9.4. Just from the front cover alone, it looks to be more around the 6.0, 6.5 type of grade. So that's unfortunate. Now, in the last order, I did receive one book that I gave a 4.0 from this seller, and then the rest of the books were in sort of the 8.5 to 9.4 range. So it's possible that was my one outlier. It's just unfortunate. It was one of the books that I paid the most for. And there's another big book in this order, and I'm really hoping it doesn't have the same condition. But let's keep moving. Next is West Coast Avengers #1, and this is more of the condition that I would expect to receive a book in when ordering from the seller. This looks to be in nice high grade. Now, this is West Coast Avengers #1, the limited series that came out in 1984 with cover art by Bob Hall and Brett Breeding. I also picked up West Coast Avengers #1. This is the first issue in the main West Coast Avengers series. Iron Man, my favorite character, and I grew up on the red and silver armor, and this is the debut of Iron Man's silver and red Centurion armor. And so when I realized Iron Man was also in West Coast Avengers, I was also reading this series as well. Very tough book to get in high grade with the all black background. Looks really nice. Just a slight bit of a corner issue. Like I said, on average, this seller was somewhere around an average of 9.3-ish. So again, to get a book kind of in that 9.4, hopefully a 9.6, that's to be expected. Next is Uncanny X-Men 234, another book that's just really tough for me to get in high grade. Putting the light right there so you can see a couple of issues along the spine. I don't know just how much color they break. Difficult to tell. Trying to get a closer shot. It could just be little indents or ticks, but this could be an opportunity to maybe send in for a pressing that would get some of those out there. I see about 5 different non-color breaking ticks. So with the right bit of TLC, this one maybe has a chance. Just a touch of discoloration right there in the corner, but pretty strong copy otherwise, so not bad. I keep staring at that Wolverine 4. It's really, really disappointing, but then you can kind of see the other books are okay. Here's Transformers #24. Another tough book to get in high grade. This one does have color breaking ticks here, slightly miswrapped, so hard to tell because the back cover is coming around, but you can see there's another color breaking tick. So this one probably will end up in the 8 and 8.5 range. Next is Totally Awesome Hulk number 21. Pretty cool series written by Greg Pak, cover art by Stonehouse. Not a key issue, but ties into kind of the weapons program here. And this series focuses on Amadeus Cho as the Hulk. Keeping it going with Hulk, we have She-Hulk, the Savage She-Hulk, number 21. You can see kind of a theme here of books that are really tough to get in high grade. So I'm really pushing the limits of this seller here, but we've got some creasing at the top, right in here by the corner, and some other just light spine issues here on the side. But not too bad, looks pretty good. Again, I think for the price that I paid for these books, if they don't end up at 9.4 or above, I'm still comfortable with the price I paid and these specific books because I think that they have some long-term desirability. This one I love, Punisher number 3. Man, just a seriously awful miswrap. You can see here, it could be protecting the book, but down here we've got a little bit of a corner issue, some chipping, so that probably spoils the 9/8 possibilities, as well as a little bit of chipping up there. But I've always loved this Mike Zeck cover. Just looking at it a little bit closer, everything else related to the spine looks to be okay. Fortunately, the bottom of the book has quite a bit of rippling that would have to come out, hopefully in a press, and then also some creasing here. So this, the more I look at it, this is probably headed towards an 8 or 8.5 as well. But always love picking up that first, it says 4-issue limited series, but it actually ended up being 5. So the very first 5 solo Punisher series books, always awesome to pick up. Next is Marvel Team Up 133, another miswrap book. Kind of blends into the cover art here. Al Milgrom and John Byrne on cover art duties here. Always love trying to find these Marvel Team Up books in high grade. This one looks to be really, really nice copy. And just the miswrapping is bothersome to me, but for the most part, very structurally sound. Great looking book from 1983. Another Marvel Team Up book. This is Marvel Team Up number 107. And this is the first meeting and battle of Spider-Man and She-Hulk. Let's take a look in here. There's some sort of crease running up and down the book completely. So that's beyond just a stacking crease. Spine looks pretty good. Not too bad. A couple of non-breaking ticks. So, I'm trying not to dwell on the Wolverine 4 condition too much because the rest of the books are okay. And in these cases, what I will do is I will contact the seller and let them know and see how they want to resolve it. Because a lot of times, if you end up purchasing a book, they might have sent you the wrong copy if they have several, or sometimes they will make an adjustment on the condition. Particularly with Atomic Avenue, everything as a seller is it can be automated if you choose to, meaning you can have your prices set based on their calculated fair market value. And so what they'll do is if I say, maybe the book has a fine, they'll readjust the book back to fine condition, let Atomic Avenue report on the fair market value of that book in fine condition, and then refund you the difference. So I'll probably reach out to the seller, especially this being a very expensive order. I mean, there's no way I would have even paid for whatever the book is worth in that condition, just because I just don't want the book to beat up that badly. All right, let's take a look at the second stack. And we've got Iron Man 132, cover art by Bob Layton, featuring the Hulk. Really great looking Iron Man comic here. I don't know, does that classify as a bondage cover? I don't know. But we've got some spine issues here, just some light creasing, a few color breaks, and probably, just landing somewhere around a 9.0. Then we've got Iron Man 102, featuring the Dread Knight, and this is cover art by George Perez. And this looks to be in great shape. So it's just funny, there's just some inconsistencies, and I know that near mint, I think I have to deal with this every time I get sort of educated, if you will, that by folks that say near mint is actually a range and it's not a specific grade point, and I just have to listen and continue to expect to hear it. I want to be open-minded, but to me, near mint is still 9.4. It's one grade near mint, and I just keep getting told that I'm wrong for 50 plus years of grading comics and assigning grades, that near mint is a range. And all of these books are near mint, well, except for the Wolverine. I'm just not going to let it go. Here is Incredible Hulk 377. Now, this is awesome. This is always a book I've admired from afar. This is my very first copy of Incredible Hulk. Number 377. This is the first appearance of Professor Hulk. Great cover art by Dale Keown. Now, I'll show the next book too, assuming they're in alphabetical order, because I ordered both the first print and the second print. I thought that the price they were listed for was pretty good, and this one, unfortunately, is not near mint. I don't care what you say, near mint, range or not. Tons of spine ticks, color breaks, etc. Probably more in sort of the VF or VF minus range. This one, the standard first print, looks to be a little bit better. Has just a slight stack increase and a couple of ticks right in there, but still pretty nice high grade Incredible Hulk 377, the first and second print. Next, we've got House of M. I love this story. Great Scarlet Witch centric story, along with the X-Men, mutants in general. Still remember that, reading that page where she says no more mutants. This one appears to have some damage to it on the bottom, just some blunting around the corner. Hopefully that could come out in a press, but the unfortunate thing is a lot of these books are going to need some attention. Same thing with the top here. We've got some sort of issue going on right inside the book there, but some of these I'm just kind of going through quickly and not stressing about because they weren't as much of an investment, or the cost wasn't that high, so I'm okay with them not being super, super high grade. And again, a lot of these are in really great shape, but not all of them. And we are slowly coming up on the big book that I'm really nervous about, but we have a few more to go. Guardians of the Galaxy number 3. This is the first appearance of the Dark Guardians, and this is the series written by Donny Cates from 2019, with the Dark Guardians appearing there on the cover. Now, this being, I think, the most recently released book that I picked up in this order, and my theory is holding true that this looks to be what I would consider to be like a 9.8 candidate in the 9.4, 9.6 range, could be a 9.8, because I did end up getting one 9.8 in the last order, and that was because it was a current book. Next is Fantastic Four number 276. Again, this one nowhere close to being near mint. We've got a miswrapping, yes, but all of these are color breaks. That's not all just cover art being wrapped around. We have some, pretty severe chipping and discoloration here. Bottom corner. I still don't think it's as bad as Wolverine 4, but definitely more flaws here in probably that kind of 7.0 type of range. And then we've got Fantastic Four 275. Now this one has some miswrapping that does make it look like there's some spine issues, but that is just art. Now there's just a couple of spine tick or light dimples in there, but no color breaks that I can see. So this one looks pretty good. One of those times where Byrne was having some fun with his cover art, She-Hulk, Stan Lee, just kind of a preview of the sensational She-Hulk that Byrne would go on to write and illustrate. Next, we've got Defenders 112. And I like this one because this is the first appearance of Power Princess. And that is the character that is basically an absolute clone of Wonder Woman, but she's affiliated with the Squadron Supreme in Marvel Comics, and somehow they're able to get away with it. And Power Princess made kind of a return to Marvel Comics in the last couple of years. So kind of a fun book to own. Let's take a look at the condition. This one looks really nice. It's like, man, I wish all of them were just like this book. Super strong. I mean, looks like it just was published today. So, and this is from 1982. So really gorgeous copy of Defenders 112. Very happy about that. Colors are great, just striking. Really, really like this copy here. Okay, 2 more to go. And this one is one I love picking up as often as I can. Classic X-Men number 1, still seeking that 9.8 candidate. beautiful direct copy, Art Adams cover art. This is the poster I want. Just absolutely stunning. Classic X-Men. Since I couldn't afford the original X-Men books, and certainly as a collector didn't want to sit there and read them as individual copies, this was a great way for me to read those original X-Men stories. So I very actively collected and read classic X-Men. And when I saw the cover, I was like, whoever this is, why didn't this guy draw the interiors? I knew it was a reprint, but it was like they should have hired him to do the original art. No offense to Dave Cockrum, John Byrne, etc. But the cover is pretty stunning by Art Adams. Now, condition-wise, this looks great. This one really could be, finally, once and for all, the 9/8 candidate. This looks very, very clean. Really nice, strong copy of Classic X-Men #1. So very pleased about that. Now, the Wolverine 4, I keep saying it. I'm going to keep bringing it up until I get that resolved. It's making me nervous for this book. When I placed that first order, some of it wasn't a small order, but it was more reasonable, where I was taking the risk and I wanted to assess the condition. And when I averaged out all of the grades, I went ahead and placed another order, and I saw this book was available, and I splurged and took a chance because I had hoped that it would show up at least close to the average grade that I had given the first order. And so we're going to take a look at the condition. I know it's all sight unseen. Near min is a range, but finally, let's take a look and see how this one turned out. This is Doctor Strange #1 from 1974. This is Doctor Strange's first solo titled series. His first series was originally called Strange Tales, where it continued with issue 169, but this is the official first solo titled series, starting with issue 1. It's not near mint. I'm already seeing defects. It's a very strong high-grade copy. Very happy to own it. Cover art by Frank Brunner is just gorgeous. So let me just point out the defects that I see. First of all, the very top has some fraying and chipping, and then we've got a little bit of a problem there on the corner with some color breaks. So really no shot at a 9/8, probably already looking at 9/4, probably 9/2 type of condition. The top corner in particular is really sharp. You can see right there, just very, very nice. And then as we go up and down the spine around the staple, there's definitely some tearing right here by the staples. So now we're looking at kind of a 9. And I know I'm doing this with a bag and board, but I don't really feel like handling this book raw. More color breaks. So now moving into the 8/5 range. And then this corner down here is pretty soft. Now we're looking at 8, another chip down here. And last but certainly not least, from the front cover side, a dog ear color break right there. So probably maxing at an 8.0, and then assuming there's some issues on the back, 7 to 7.5 for this copy of Doctor Strange #1. Now, I have no regrets with the purchase. I love being able to acquire these types of books, and this one I would consider it to be high grade, borderline high grade, mid to high grade, I guess. But like I talk about a lot on my channel, it's really about spending your money wisely and not overspending or overpaying for a book. And I might have done that with that Doctor Strange book because I was trying to take a chance and trying to get it in a 9.4. But I don't think that's the case, clearly, based on the front cover condition. But lots of great comics. Some of these it's the first time I've ever owned books like Incredible Hulk 377, Doctor Strange #1, his first series. More Iron Man books for my run of Iron Man, trying to fill out a run of Marvel Team Up. So definitely continuing to fill out my collection, I think, with the proper books, key books, desirable books. But I do want to take a look at the fair market value of these books and really compare what I paid to see if I was able to add any value to my collection based on the prices. So let's review the order summary. All right, here is the order summary for the order that I placed on Atomic Avenue with the seller Dad's Comic Stash. I placed the order on December 7th, 2023. It was shipped very promptly, and the contents were very well secured and well packaged. So, highly recommend ordering books from this seller. I'm just still reeling from some of the disappointment on the two big books in this order. Overall, I think the books will grade out and have a really nice average condition, but was really crossing my fingers here. And as you can see, some of the negative values that I probably ended up overpaying. And, looking back on things, I might have let my emotions get the better of me, thinking I had found this really great resource and I needed to snatch these books up before someone else came across this seller in the store and bought all the books that I wanted. And, I wanted to go ahead and secure the comics. I talk a lot about making sure you just take possession of the comic and then kind of deal with the condition, see if you can negotiate with the seller. Obviously, in retrospect, I should have requested scans for the Wolverine #4 and Doctor Strange #1. As you can see, I paid $180.68 total for that book, and it has a cover price fair market value of $98. Had I looked at the scan and really seen the defects, I would have passed. Obviously, same with Wolverine 4, $49.28. And it has a cover price fair market value of $33. I doubt I could get $33 for that book if I were to post photos of that and try and sell it. And so those two books alone are driving a pretty severely negative raw value add here in column AA. Still overall a positive value add of $97.83. So that's on top of the $440.17 that I spent. And I'm hoping there's a few books in here, particularly Classic X-Men #1. This is really more of an example of a book and a price point that got me excited the first time around. So here in column Z, we've got a total cost of $10.40 for Classic X-Men #1. It has a fair market value, according to cover price, of $20. Defenders 112, I paid $13.14 for it. Cover price has it at $39 for a $25.86 value add. So there's definitely some potential here. Classic X-Men #1 and Defenders 112 were two really nice high-grade copies, great examples of books that I would hope to receive from this seller. And, I want to go ahead and plug in the grades because I think cover price is skewing some of these numbers too. I don't feel like Incredible Hulk 377 at $14 is completely accurate. I paid $24.09 for that book. And then you've got the second printing listed at $70, and I paid $29.57. So roughly about $5 apart, but a pretty significant gap in fair market value. So if, they were all to get a 9.4, because again, I believe that's what near mint is, and I plug in 9.4, let's see if any of these books have any CGC value. And also let's check out the cover price fair market values to see if they shift. And some of them did shift here. Some of them went down. My raw value add dropped to $27.83, but my CGC value went up to $211. And what that means is if I were to blindly send all of these books off to CGC after shipping and fees and having the slabs come back to me, if I looked at the value of each slab in a 9.4, then I would have added $211 to my collection. Now, this is where I took the gamble on Doctor Strange #1. I thought it made financial sense, paying $180 to acquire the book, and then if it were to get a 9.4, it would be worth $268 in a slab 9.4. It just didn't end up working out. And if I go ahead and put in, let's see, I think I said 7.5 is probably where it'll end up, $100. So that's unfortunate. Even an 8.0 is probably not going to be in the realm of trying to get my money back. 131. That's respectable. I don't think it's an 8.5, so that's just too bad. Same thing with Wolverine 4. I thought, okay, in a 9.4, it's worth $89. So I'll go ahead and pay the $45 plus tax to acquire it. That didn't quite work out. I don't even know if it has a value in a 6.0. And $33, yeah, it's just not worth it. I'd rather go ahead and see if I can get my money back by selling it somehow, or working with the seller to see if I can return it. It's always tricky because you start arguing about condition. You're buying books sight unseen. It's really on you as the buyer, and I do assume that responsibility. A lot of this is a gamble, so just kind of disappointed as this one. I'm seeing some positive value adds, so I don't want to be too negative, and let's see if I can find something that is a little bit more interesting here. Again, the classic X-Men #1, even at a 9.4, $62. It's kind of a no-brainer to pick that book up when you see it if it isn't high grade. Iron Man 102 and a 9.4, $80. That one looks to be not bad. Could be a 9.4 candidate, maybe 9.6. Transformers in a 9.4 is $72. So there's some potential value here. And let's just see for fun. I know this is going to be crazy because the Doctor Strange #1 is super valuable in a 9.8, but just so I could see the potential of some of these books if they were in a 9.8, the total CGC value, $4,815. I don't even want to think about it just because of the Wolverine 4 and Doctor Strange 1 conditions, but there you go. I think what's interesting here is I picked up every single book in this order. They had a 9.8 CGC fair market value of at least $100. I did not expect them to be 9.8 candidates, but what I'm trying to do is get a decent price for a book that has some desirability. And when I talk about desirability for a book, that is part of what I factor in when I'm making a purchase, because I feel like if there is a book that has a high CGC value in a high grade, that means the book is attracting some attention. It means that we have real sale data on these books. And as these 9.8s continue to have 3 and 4 figure values, then my 1 and 2 figure purchases, I feel like, has a lot of potential to not only be eligible for grading because it does have that monetary value, but as time goes on, I think these books will still continue to be desirable. And that's kind of one of the ways that I try to track desirability, attractiveness for a book, is because it's sometimes it's hard to quantify. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Even what you collect, if you collect what you like, what you need is to have a large number of collectors collecting what they like. And if what they like are great Marvel team-up books or great first limited series of the Punisher books, then there's going to be a market for it going forward. There's other data that I look at in terms of want lists, where I try to pick up books that have value in a CGC 9.4 and a 9.8, and I just kind of assume if there is value in a 9.4 and a 9.8, then there is value in a 9.6, but then also, are these books added to want lists on various sites? Are people using wish lists, and am I looking at that data? And so if I look at all of that, I go ahead and say, well, now it's worth the risk, it's worth the gamble to try and make the purchase. It is unfortunate the condition of some of these books just didn't work out this time, and that's the way it goes. So let me know what you think about this order. Please leave me a comment. And, if you did see my other video and you jumped on the bandwagon to try and purchase from the seller, now we've got a much larger sample size here, probably roughly 40 books, 45 books, where I can look at the average condition, including now some of these 4.0s and 6.0s and 7.0s that are going to push the average grade down. As always, buyer beware, but would love to get your feedback on any experiences you have purchasing from this seller or the platform in general. Thanks for watching, happy collecting, and see you next time.